So leading up to the grand opening, or I should say the official first class, which is September 7th, as a sniper fighting seminar. And let me explain. Throughout the years, Americans developed what would be sport karate. It started back in the 1940s with Robert Trias, first tournament USKA event from out of Arizona. And then fast forward to things that happen today worldwide. But techniques like the blitz that separated us from what would have been traditionalists were developed back in the 1960s. I put a video of Grandmaster Chuck Norris himself doing the California Blitz on Skipper Mullins, rest in peace, at the Long Beach International in 1966. So I've gotten into competition more than most people. And that's why I was able to, transcend what would have been generations. I fought hardcore fighters in the 80s that fought like they were the 70s, and legends. And it wasn't that I was better. I just knew techniques I didn't know. Recently, there's a video going on that I actually shared when I got my jaw broken with Billy Blanks. And that's become like a big thing, getting tens of thousands of views, if not more. And people putting their opinions. I haven't responded to that as of yet, but it was the best thing that happened to me. It was a sport that literally was dangerous. And the same way I got my jaw broken, Mr. Blanks that year got knocked out twice, and also a bunch of stitches over his head. It was just a different game. Now, not fighting with anybody who competes today, because the fact of the matter is that it's not your fault because you don't know the history, but your instructor doesn't know the history. Most of the guys have no freaking idea that taking people out with one technique was more than possible. Anyhow, as an instructor, curriculums are very important. In most schools, you see they have a curriculum when it comes to the self-defense. They have a curriculum for their forms. They have a curriculum for maybe motivation, maybe not. But they don't have one for sparring. They do drills. And it's sad because today everyone does the same thing. So I did a sparring seminar a few years ago, and somebody afterwards said to me, that wasn't a sparring seminar. I'm like, wow. It wasn't offensive. It was just shocking to me how incompetent people really are to the facts. Most martial arts instructors don't know how to bridge the gap. They know how to kick and punch, which I consider, or even now, they got ground zero, which is the floor, right? Range number 1, which is elbows, knees, throws. Range number 2, which is punching. Doesn't matter what form of punching. Range number 3 is kicking. Doesn't matter what form of kicking. But range number 4 is a sniper range. It's a range where none of those weapons can actually touch you. But we can bridge a gap a lot faster than most people because of the fast twitching muscles that get developed. So the point is that most instructors didn't really like their students to compete because their students didn't win. And it wasn't because their students weren't good. They just didn't have the information to be able to do these things. So I got to give credit to Billy Blanks, and rest in peace to Steve Nasty Anderson. Billy taught me how to blitz. Nasty Anderson taught me how to do the dive bomb. Today, people think the dive bomb is the blitz just because they're bridging the gap. So I had to really think about what it was that made these martial artists, martial being military and art being strategy, or what would be creativity. And I realized back in 2013 that the people who could take you out with one blow were like snipers. And sometimes it was a kick, sometimes it was a punch, sometimes it was a sweep, sometimes it was the psychological warfare, because they used to intimidate you, at least try to. And I said, wow, what would happen if we went back in time to when they had more spectators and even more prize money, and they gave respect to adults? Today, everything's run by children. The parents actually dictate who should be on stage, and little John, who's 10 years old, he has the 5-year-old kid that looks up to Johnny, who's twirling, a little freaking stupid thing like that. And then they try to convince you that that's martial arts. Dumb shit. So it's insulting to me, because I know better. Now, from an instructor's standpoint, I'm getting ready to open up the school, and literally, I'm listening to all these organizations of how to increase your student count and marketing. None of them talk martial arts. They're just talking about business and money. And I hear that people are part of masterminds, and they're doing the same thing too. They're talking about business and money, not the business of having the best students possible. Having the best students possible is where the money's at. No bragging here, but it's the fact. When we competed in tournaments, we ransacked through the majority of the divisions, from seniors to children and everywhere in between. In the grand championships, most likely one of my students, if not myself, or multiple students. This was back, 30 years ago now, but it was done, historical fact. And most people have no freaking idea that your student creed or your version of the lay-down kicks or your version of so-called blitzes came from one of my descendants or either myself. So to eliminate that, I said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to open up the doors and teach everybody how to play this sparring game that'll help you with fast twitching muscles, which increases your ability to fight even in the street situation, because that's what is part of it. That being the case, I do not own what would be these techniques. They belong to the universe, the martial arts universe, as through me and other people, and I am going to package it, and I'm sharing it, and I have for many years throughout the world. That being the case, next, September 7th, for 2 hours, we have the Sniper Fighting Level 1 seminar, which is the foundation. 9 out of 10 times when I do techniques, I can reference that to what would be Level 1. Because you don't have to get that fancy, especially today, because people don't really know much. And they keep doing the same thing, copying each other and expecting to be better at them when it's all based on speed today and the illusion of hitting each other, because the standards and the values have gone to hell with a handbag, which is crazy. But I digress. September 8th, I'm doing an instructor's training certification, level 1, meaning Saturday you take the seminar, Sunday you learn how to teach what you just participated in. That, with some time, will guarantee that your martial arts skills when it comes to kicking and punching, and I don't know about you personally, but kicking and punching is what fighting happens. Yes, I love every form of martial arts, including grappling and even Tai Chi. All those things are wonderful. But no one's ever grabbed me around my neck or on my, this type of self-defense. Yeah, I still teach that too, but it's not really practical in the sense of what happens here in the damn Bronx. Someone steps to you, is the person in front of you, that's the decoy, the person over here getting ready to snuff you. That's the one you have to freaking worry about. But that's another form of self-defense that I develop and I will be teaching, because everything's based on like side-to-side. They freaking flip people around and they make it seem like it's all dope. I'm sorry. I didn't drink that Kool-Aid. Why am I adamant? Because I see how people are just full of crap. They full of crap. And what I mean by that is they are teaching stuff that they know it doesn't work. For example, if you don't have the split, why are you teaching someone how to stretch? Your instructor didn't have to split. Their instructor, you have generations of people who never had to split. And it's not because of flexibility. It's because they did not have the proper technique and alignment that's consistent with the way the body works to get the split. And no one investigated. What they did was regurgitated what other people did. That being the case, you have people with bad knees, bad hips, bad backs, and no splits. So it's embarrassing to me as an instructor when I was trying to teach the way I was taught my students to actually stretch. And what I was getting right now was just frustration. So I had to investigate the people who had developed the techniques that actually worked. And then I was able to acquire that information, put it into the system. And I was 16 freaking years old when I did this. I was beating so-called black belt legends at age 16 and 17 years old. And I was embarrassed because I thought that, I was just lucky. But I kept training as if I was going to get killed in a tournament, and I got more lucky. So the more I trained, the luckier I got. And what did I train in? I trained in hitting the person without being hit. That to me is what martial arts is. Whether it's under the rules of any sport, full contact, MMA, it's still the same thing. I want to hit you without getting hit. And what's the most important thing when it comes to that? 2 things. Footwork and angles. Footwork and angles do 2 things. Allow you to be in a safe position, whether it's the angle of playing basketball. That's why I learned the idea. You box somebody out, you angle. Footwork. When you play ring relief, you tap. These physical movements were applied to what was considered, at a time where I trained, sport karate. That's why I started New York's first sport karate training center back in 1988, because my focus was on teaching people how to bridge the gap from point A to point B without putting themselves at risk. So that didn't just mean blitzing, meaning the two-step technique that's on the ground. It might have meant dive bombing, but it might have been fake repositioning and then go, like I learned from Grandmaster Joe Lewis, rest in peace. So it's a collective of things that worked throughout the years. It's not something that I invented. Yes, I had a chance to experience it based on putting my time in. And, I learned quite a bit. I learned more from my losses, absolutely, from my losses. As an example, there's a gentleman right now here named Larry Rogers, left feet. That guy there hit me so freaking hard that I realized that I have to work on my angles a little better. He wasn't a national champion, but in Region 12, what a freaking threat he was. Phenomenal. So I got a really good memory. I've never been a drinker, never been a smoker. So my brain cells are still intact, and I would not apologize to people for my work ethic, because my intention is to get better than ever. So when people make excuses about age, I think you guys are just making a freaking excuse. Fact of the matter is that the older we are, the more important it is for us to stay healthy, because health is wealth. So that's why I share that information. But getting back to instructor certification, my goal is to have 100 people, and we will, 100 certified instructors nationwide, to be able to create the foundation to the Unified Martial Arts Network, UMAN. Yes, there's competition in UMAN there, and you see the sniper fighting logo there also, but the fact of the matter is that this is going to be the rating system. The first tournament is going to be next year, and most likely the third week of May. Now, why would I throw a tournament? Because they don't exist anymore. Sport karate tournaments, as known by myself and many people, stopped existing in 1985. That's when they got rid of the sweeps. That's when they started adding a 2-point kick by 1986, and the destruction of it came from sponsored team Budweiser. That's when everything changed. And that was the year I got my jaw broken. Yes, I was in Madison Square Garden. Yes, I was on ESPN TV. Yes, the grand champion was $2,500. But the truth of the matter is that that's what ended up destroying what I consider tournament competition, because it became now about a team, when it was always about an individual person or performance. Yes, you did get teams when it came to the schools. Sometimes it was East versus West, North versus South, but it wasn't sponsored teams that domesticated the competitors, that took away the heart from the competitors. I know that firsthand, because a student of mine that I allowed him to be on the team back in 1988, 4 out of the eight kids were my students. Eventually, they were pretty much just bought out to become instructors. So they started teaching people my curriculum via my students, for the sake of making their team better, and then getting credit as if they're the ones that organized it. And make a long story short, most of the people aren't around no more, because they weren't part of what I consider this: honor and respect. The patch says UMAN, Unified Martial Arts Network, because all of us, you and I are one. Are you a parent? Oh, us one. Are you a child, or I should say a son or a daughter? Oh, us one. So we are all together. So us one is in there. Us and then one. But it's about honor and respect. If I'm sparring with you and I don't score on you, I don't make believe I scored. No, I can't do that. Why? Because I still have to look in the mirror and respect myself. And if I don't respect myself, then there's a problem. In addition to that, I also have here pioneers and legends. Your goal should be to become a pioneer or a legend. Why not? Now, pioneer legend only means that you produce results over and over again for at least 5 to 10 years. Maybe a pioneer might be someone that was great for 5 years. Maybe a legend is someone that did phenomenal results for 10 years. Other people decide that. But to me, I had to come up with some type of structure, because when I think about some of the so-called legends of yesteryear, and they are for that era, most of them never competed 5 years. Very few competed 10 years. So it was limited because of during that time, the belief was that if you was in your 20s, by the time you was in your 30s, it was old. So athletes in their 30s were an anomaly. They were very rare. And the truth of the matter is that today is a different game, but when it comes down to it, there's a lot of history of sport karate, or what would be point karate, that most people just don't know. And since I was in the middle of a lot of that stuff and revolutionized things that you guys may not know, because behind the scenes, I was always speaking to the so-called powers that be, figure they were the promoters and we were the competitors. And as a competitor, I wanted to share the information with the promoters to make sure that all of us benefited. As an example, I believe that every martial arts tournament should have been a joint venture financially with the school owner and the competitor and what would be the promoters, because realistically, that's what it was. A promoter needed money and we took them, our students. Whether they had a positive or negative experience doesn't matter. The transaction financially was just one-sided, so it was like a charity. But the fact of the matter is that the school owner created what would be that event's success. So they should be able to reap the rewards based on their commitment also, get their cut out of the damn deal. And that's why I structured the U-Man way back in 2008 when we threw the U-Man tournaments. My point is that there are ways to really make this thing work, but the quality of the martial artist is the most important thing. Sniper fighting seminars and certifications, something that I've been doing for many years. Raymond, actually, when I met you, sir, I believe it was at a seminar I did way back when. Near Philadelphia. So my point is this: the quality of martial arts really, it depends on the instructor teaching the students. Now, we know the children today are not the same. We know that because of diet and lifestyle, ADHD and autism is running rampant. We get that. However, teaching literate is the key, not illiterate, or I should say, people say that children have learning disabilities. I shouldn't say that. I taught children with Down syndrome, muscular dystrophy, and you name it. I had to learn how to teach them. Visual, auditory, kinesthetic. If you use those three accessing cues, it's the foundation to what would be increasing someone's quality of information for them to be able to physically do it. But sometimes intellectually people know how to, they understand stuff, but they don't have a physical exercise to make them acquire that result. So I came up with ways. I teach people how to throw the kicks while laying down and aligning their body. They don't throw a kick, they squeeze the trigger. No, they squeeze the muscle, which is similar to squeezing the trigger. Hence, martial arts is military. Military, you have a sniper, and the sniper is part of special forces, and the special forces sniper is the most important person on that team, because you can't get in or get out that mission without that sniper. Most people don't compete in martial arts tournaments, and I don't blame you, especially today, they don't exist. But what would happen if for some reason you, 3 months from now, was going to compete in a tournament that was consistent with the way you believe it should be? Every technique is 1 point, the sweep is allowed, as long as there's a follow-up, and all you really want to do is have a friendly game of Kia, meaning to work on your timing, your tempo, your distance, your flexibility. Have fun, damn it. Have fun. I look at martial arts schools and I see how they teach, and I'm saying 2 things I see. 1, the students suck. They suck, I'm sorry to tell you. They don't even know how to tie their belts. Like people today with videos, they still don't have, their students don't know how to tie a belt. And people say, what's so important about that? Well, if martial is the military, in the military, you gotta be freaking dressed proper, and your bed should be fixed even before you leave, the barracks. But the point is that the high standards of every explicit detail is the most important thing. As a parent, that's what I want. I want help with someone to help me get my son or daughter to clean their freaking room and be accountable. So you are extended family members as an instructor to increase the possibility of your children and grandchildren and so on and so forth to do the right thing. I don't teach respect. I teach self-respect. I don't teach discipline. I teach self-discipline. I don't teach control. I teach self-control. It's personal growth. Okay, that's the mindset. And some people are pretty good at teaching that. However, when it comes to, how many of you right now can do the finger split? Then why the hell you teach people how to do something that doesn't work? Because that's called tradition. We've been doing that for a long time. And I would have been part of that whole thing too. But the fact of the matter is that realistically, it's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to lead by example. I feel a whole bunch of what I would consider pressure because I am right now, presently, my body is more like I should be teaching sumo because I'm 230 freaking 2 pounds today based on stress and a whole bunch of different things, but it doesn't matter. Once I get in there to teach, I'm a lead by example. People used to say to me, how in God's name can you, with 300 plus students in one location in the Bronx during the 1990s, how do you get a chance to train? I was like, what the hell they were talking about? I demonstrate when I'm training. I demonstrate myself, so I'm actually working out also. And that's what it's supposed to be, lead by example. January 10th, I'm going to be 59. I'm not sure how high it's going to go, but on that day, I'll go live on location and see how high I can throw that kick that I've been known for because it's been years. It's been years. Then I put videos of people in their 70s, 80s, 90s doing some incredible stuff. Why? Because we actually can. Do you know that you can be better than you ever have in your entire life? Ever? And there's nothing wrong with that. Actually, that's exciting. If you make some shifts in what would be even lifting weights, you're not supposed to do chest, shoulder, tricep, back, bicep, legs. Not after the age of 40. It's high intensity interval training, that hit thing. And I can honestly say that I did that wrong for a long time. So I'm excited, but you got to have a reason to be excited. Why am I excited? I get a chance to touch some future pioneers and legends in martial arts when I'm teaching. Someone trains with me for a freaking year, I'll challenge that compared to somebody training with somebody else for 4 years. Because I teach things that work. And if you go see my operation, motivation is the key. Motivation, not dictation. Not dictation or being a dictator. Not intimidation. But motivation. But then from the motivation, which is a good start, you have to give people accountability. Give an example. A child's 3 years old. He comes to my school and I say, hey, are you a baby or a big boy? I'm a big boy. Oh, okay, well, this is the way big boys stand. So first I identify with the child, give them an example of how it should be, and then give them the power. But it has to be pain pleasure principles as we learn in neurolinguistic programming. And what's that? If a child does not do what he or she is supposed to do, instead of giving them push-ups, which people take an exercise that should be positive and make it into a negative thing by getting push-ups, because the instructor did that, the instructor did that, so on and so forth. No, you give them an accountability and ask them a question. Okay, if we had a book on martial arts, should the techniques be like this? No, sir. How you want your book to be? Good, sir. So who's responsible for your techniques? We are, sir. What were you born to be? A winner, sir. A winner. There's a lot of affirmations and a lot of energy and a lot of things that throughout the years I developed and other people shared also. For example, when you bow, what does that show? Respect, right? The quality of your bow, what does that show? That's self-respect. And that's the difference. When most ads that I see, they do the same thing. Doesn't matter what year it is. Confidence, focus, control, And I'm like, I don't teach confidence. I teach self-confidence. Confidence is when someone, or control. Control is when someone says, do something and you do it. That means they're controlling you. I don't teach that. I don't teach people to be puppets. I teach people to be self-reliant, to make good decisions, to get home safe. Which is the most important thing in martial arts to me, is helping people make good decisions to get home safe. That's it. And I'm sorry, I'm not into it just to earn money. I'm going to make a ton of money. I'm probably going to be the most expensive school around because I'm going to raise my standards because I see the instructors and the quality of those people. And to me, they freaking suck. They suck. They suck. They suck. They suck. And they don't have to. If you're there, you might as well, you have time. Like, for example, I've seen people for years train really, really hard. Phenomenal. But the techniques were faulty. So they were good at things that didn't work. Then I would show them 2 or 3 techniques. They went, wow, that makes sense. And then they became phenomenal at that. Why? Because it's a formula of success that actually works. It works. And there are many approaches to things. However, we get caught up. Again, I'm speaking to people about having this youth martial arts school, and I'm thinking, man, maybe I'm out of the loop. I know what I used to do, and I'm thinking they're doing some nuclear physics now. No, my gosh. It's almost where, do you know the number 1 car company in America was like 1890 something, and those the United States, the American car, electronic car company, something along those lines. In other words, that technology has been around a long time. So when I'm teaching today, it feels like I got this knowledge, this freaking ancient knowledge that freaking works. Even how to run your successful martial arts school. Successful martial arts school. What are you supposed to be? You're supposed to be a community leader. So you have to go meet the people, not just go into that town, extract the income, and get the hell out of there. That's not what it's about. You have to become one with the village. And there's a variety of things to do that. My point is that helping people make good decisions to get home is the most important thing. Leading by example is freaking very important. Doing things you never did before. Imagine if tomorrow you was able to get the split without injuring yourself and without saying something that I hear people say, oh, if I did that, or they used to say, oh, I used to could do that. Man, stop that. You need to stay alive for your family who loves you, so you might as well start doing things that are incredible. They think you think how to know anyway. They think that you know how to do things anyway. He's a black belt. He's dangerous, or she's dangerous. They believe in you more than what you can actually show in your skill set. Same thing with me, damn it. I can't throw that kick straight up there anymore, but damn it, I'm going for it. Oh, yes, I'm going for it. And then people are going to say, oh, yeah, but you're naturally flexible. Naturally? No. If that was the case, my students would be doing 4 splits. It's a curriculum. It's understanding the body. Instead of stretching this way, when you sit down and put, we stretch from the top. See, we go from the top. Your hips are like shoulders. You go from the top. And you guys who participate in these seminars, I've shared it for free for years. The horse stance, but with your knees out, align your hips, knees, heel, head in one alignment, and that'll combine with gravity. It'll help you go down into the split. I had to share this information because, again, sniper fighting certification, only 100 instructors nationwide or worldwide, because I'm going to actually do it virtually too. And then we have the tournament circuit that starts in May of next year. Unified Martial Arts Network. And I'm going to teach these monthly on location and via Zoom, because sport karate or competition karate or tournament karate or sniper fighting, as I call it, has so many benefits to it. Fast twitching muscles being developed from a distance is incredible because it just changes the game. If someone's in kicking range and you're out and you're in sniper range, they can't touch you. If you can bridge that gap while still being out of the line of fire, that right there is footwork that's phenomenal. The only form of martial arts that teaches footwork similar to that is Filipino martial arts, FMAs, or Kesilat. These are the styles that work in the streets and guerrilla warfare, but at the same time, the footwork works for hitting somebody. And it's not a game of tag. I hate when they say that, because tag is like this, you're it, and that's why they do that. So they think it's a game of tag, that's why they slap at each other. No, what it is a simulation of what would be a real fight. However, you're not allowed to physically do those things that in your mind you see you could have done. So when I throw a back fist at somebody, I threw a finger jab. Yes, I threw a finger jab. I elbowed them when I followed through. I kneed them. I stomped them on their throat, and I got out the freaking door to get home safe. So you get so many benefits from the fast twitching muscles and understanding the distance. So when you're in the range where people are throwing punches, you're like, I'm not going to be here. Why? I'd rather be over here. And then when they get into the distance, boom, you hit them. That's point karate. And that's the way, even right now, Mayweather, he crosses his arms like point karate fighter. The so-called Philly shell. We've been doing that freaking for years. He shifts his body, comes right back. That's a reverse punch. Man, so many benefits from what would be the movement. But what happens is this. We learn martial arts. We're going to the left. What they make you do? Move the right foot and then throw the kick. In other words, the techniques are faulty because if you go to the left in basketball, you move the left foot and then the right foot, and your feet never come together and you don't cross your legs. Now, I've done the videos and people say, oh, he's teaching people to cross the legs. Hey, idiot. From a distance, when you're repositioning, you can even take your guns and put them down because the bullets don't reach, meaning the army's moving. And everyone has a great opinion on kicking, and they can't kick for shit. Stretching, but they can't freaking stretch. How to run successful school, but they freaking teaching the PAO, YMCA. And how to fight, and they've been freaking nothing but judges. You can actually do all those things, become a martial artist who, in your later years, got better than what you were in your younger years based on the discoveries that you made that produced the results that were easier to do because they were consistent with kinesiology, meaning how the body moves, using the elements of the world, meaning posture, breathing, and gravity. That's what helps you get to what would be the split. The opposite is true. When you pick up your chamber, gravity is going to be fighting against you, which increases the strength and flexibility in the muscles that support the joints. The joints. And that's where we get messed up. Bad knee, bad back, bad hip. Yes, why? You jeopardize your joints. Why you jeopardize your joints? Because you followed Shihan, Sensei, that they walking around like Yankee Doodle Dandy. So you think maybe, to me, I got scared. I was 16 years old. I seen this guy who had an operation in his back. If he took a big chunk out of it back then, they were doing operations that butcher you. And I noticed that they used to first joke around and say, oh, all the jiu-jitsu guys walk around with canes. And then I started noticing, yeah, but all the taekwondo guys were getting knee operations and hip operations. And I'm saying, I don't want that. I know they didn't want that either. But if I do what they're doing, I might get what they're getting. And I didn't want that to happen. So all I'm saying is that there are options to make things actually work. If you literally want to do something you did, like when you was younger, you can still do it. It starts off, we started slower, but understand that your body can do some incredible things, and don't take age and use that as a reason why you can't do something. It's BS. Belief systems. If you believe that is true, educate yourself on options. So, for those of you who want to expedite, get the results a lot faster, that's why I put together the Sniper Fighting Instructors Curriculum 2013. You guys see, and this is when I started teaching it under that banner. Before that, I called it Real Sport Karate. And the reason I called it real was because these people, if you're playing basketball and the ball doesn't go on the hoop, that means you don't score. So in the 1990s, all of a sudden, all you had to do is hit the rim and they gave you the point. No, man, in 1980, from 85 and below, you had to get the ball inside. In other words, the quality of the techniques was different. The standards were higher. So what did I do? 85 to 86, 3 times. Grandmaster Joe Lewis, I was his assistant. By the 3rd seminar, he said to me, slow down, you're making me look bad. In other words, I educated myself on how to use the footwork that was done in the previous generation and applied it in the present one, and now that's still nuclear physics as compared to most people today. I see them try to do things that I did way back when, wrong, and call it something different, and everybody else copies them. Anyhow, I'm excited, but more importantly, I am committed. If you want to learn and have nothing to do with style, you still teach your gold, your shoulder count, whatever style you do, but add to the curriculum a sparring curriculum so that it really fills it up. Because no disrespect intended, but you think Fontanez can fight? Get the hell out of here. He could barely freaking do a stance there. Come on, guys. I mean, keep it real. Keep it real. They were scientists. They were kinesiologists. He was a professor. And you got to become a professor understanding the way the body moves. But at the same time, martial is military, and the military is war. And the idea is that, you want to be able to kick someone's butt and look good. September 7th, Fontanez Martial Arts will have its first, what would be sniper fighting seminar, with the intention of getting an instructor's certification so we can have what would be the UMAN tournaments, because enough is enough. I started this back in 2008. Family got into family. I have 5 kids, two grandkids, and my mother passed away. I was a caregiver for 3 years, and life got in the way. But the truth of the matter is that I'm excited now because now I get a chance to start teaching the best freaking students ever. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna teach my students to become better than yours. Because that's what it's supposed to be about. And you're supposed to try to do that same thing too. And we're going to challenge each other by going to a damn tournament and meet there. How's that? The way it should be. But I'll be competing too at different times to challenge you and your instructors. Because I still think that we got what it takes. Anyhow, thank you for watching, guys. I appreciate it. But the fact of the matter is that I really honestly believe that we could do martial arts better than ever. And we need it. Society has major problems. These children need us. But the children that are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, they need us too. Children of all ages. We are in a battle against time to try to keep ourselves alive with a quality of life. That's why health is wealth. And exercise is just a part of it. Anyway, on that note, AB, see ya. Fontanez Martial Arts, 188 East 3rd Street in the East Village. Take it easy. Oh, what happened here? Oop, I made a mistake. Bye-bye.